Good morning. I'm Joe Barker, a member of Sunnyhill's pastoral care team. As a team, we are here to offer support to Sunnyhill members who are going through difficult or challenging life events. If you are in need of such support, please reach out to a member of the pastoral care team. If you have questions, please contact Reverend Jim or a member of the pastoral care team. You can submit a joy or a sorrow on Sunnyhill's website or by filling out a form on Sunday mornings in the foyer. After each joy or sorrow that I read, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." I have a sorrow from Barb Shook. Barb says, "It's been 2 weeks and I'm still waiting for results from my 24-hour EEG, and I'm growing impatient." For Barb, we hold you in our hearts. The sorrow from Cameron Flick. A few Sundays ago, member Cameron Flick's father and stepmom passed away tragically, leaving behind 4 kids. Cameron and his wife, Emmy Romig, are currently fighting for custody of the 4 children. Emmy is currently working on organizing a fundraiser benefit for the beginning of August to be able to afford a lawyer and other funeral and travel expenses. If you would like to connect with Cameron, if you know any resources or could possibly help with the auction, please reach out to Cameron following the service. And Cameron is seated there. For Cameron, his wife, and the children, we hold you in our hearts. As we listen and participate in our musical meditation, we invite anyone who feels moved to do so to come forward to the front of the sanctuary, light a candle, place it in the sand, and return to your seat.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer. There is no moment but this moment. There is no peace but this peace we create with each breath. There is no love but the love we breathe into being. Gathered here, let us take a moment to breathe with one another. Imperfect and flawed as we are, confused and hopeless as we may be, filled with both doubt and faith, compassion and consternation, fear and wonder. Let us take a moment of stillness now to imagine breathing in peace and breathing out love. Even if we forget all else, may we remember to return to our breath, to center ourselves in our breathing, no matter what circumstance we may be facing, breathing in peace and breathing out love, and thereby connected to our best and truest selves. May we breathe in peace and breathe out love, now and always. Amen. I am grateful for everyone's support this past week as my family and I have been grieving the death of my mother. It means a lot to be held in loving community at times like these, and we are thankful for every good thought, every prayer, every card, every gesture of support that we have received. I ask that you continue to hold my father in your hearts as he navigates through difficult and unknown terrain without my mother after 72 years together. Thank you again for your many kind thoughts and good wishes. Perhaps it's no coincidence that I chose to speak this week on the topic of what to do when you don't know what to do, as I have experienced a moment or two like that this week. In fact, over the past 10 years or so, starting really in the aftermath of the 2016 elections and then continuing through the COVID years and then into our current political dumpster fire era, I have found myself frequently having no idea what to do next. And I know that I am not the only one who has often arrived at this place of utter confusion and disorientation and groundlessness, that feeling of the rug and perhaps the world itself having been pulled out from beneath your feet limbs and feelings and thoughts all akimbo and spiraling downward toward darkness and dissolution. There are these moments that we all experience when it seems that entropy changes from a theoretical construct to something visceral. It's as if we can feel and hear things falling apart, atoms spitting off into space, the center no longer holding as it once seemed to. When you find yourself having such a moment of being at an absolute loss as to what to do next, what can you do? While I do not pretend to have all the answers or even necessarily any answer that will work for everyone, I do have some ideas that might be useful to keep in mind for these moments. The first idea I suggest has to do with stepping outside. When our daughter Ella was an infant, there were times when she would cry and cry and cry and seem to be absolutely inconsolable, something which I'm sure sounds familiar to many of you. Feeding and diaper changing didn't work, cuddling and caressing didn't work, bouncing and rocking didn't work, humming and singing didn't work, white noise didn't work. One day, when the weeping and wailing seemed interminable, I did something that perhaps incredibly had never occurred to me before. I carried my baby daughter outside to our front porch. And the transformation was immediate and almost magical. The crying ceased, both my daughter's crying and my own. And I could see her eyes moving around, taking in the grass and the trees and all of the outdoors. She let out a sigh as her body relaxed in my arms, and at least for a while, we rested in the grace and the peace of the natural world. I try to remember this lesson for myself anytime I feel stuck or overwhelmed. Step outside, and sometimes that's enough in and of itself to make a huge difference. My second suggestion for what to do when you don't know what to do is perhaps even simpler than the act of going outside. It is remembering to breathe and to center yourself in your breath. You don't need to be a master of meditation to center yourself in your breathing. You just need to shift your awareness toward your breath for a moment or two before moving on. In fact, let's practice together right now just a couple of mindful breaths. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, breathe in, hold, breathe out. And then return to your normal breathing. The song we just sang as our candlelighting hymn, Meditation on Breathing, was written by UU musician Sarah Dan Jones, who said in an interview, "I wrote the song just after September 11th. I was so filled with despair, and I needed to channel that into some hope. The song has since taken on a life of its own. It has been sung at vigils and rallies all over." Jones continues, "When folks talk to me about it, like when I sing it when visiting out, they range from parents using it to sing their kids to sleep, to adults using it in meditation, to hospice choirs singing it at the bedsides of the dying. Such is the power of remembering to breathe and bringing yourself back to your breath again and again. As Lynn Unger says in her poem titled Breathe, "Breathe," said the wind. "How can I breathe at a time like this when the air is full of the smoke of burning tires, burning lives?" "Just breathe," the wind insisted. "Easy for you to say if the weight of injustice is not wrapped around your throat, cutting off all air. I need you to breathe. I need you to breathe. Don't tell me to be calm when there are so many reasons to be angry, so much cause for despair." "I didn't say to be calm," said the wind. "I said to breathe." It is simple and it is true. We need to breathe to face whatever might be ahead. My third idea for what to do when you don't know what to do, and I'll be summarizing these at the end so you don't have to be jotting down notes. My third idea for what to do is to reach out to others. At the center of almost every emotional and spiritual crisis I have experienced is this feeling of isolation, of being totally alone with whatever challenge I am facing. And almost always, the crisis is made more bearable when I reach out to other people. If we have learned anything from the various crises of the past 10 years, it is a lesson about the power and necessity of staying connected with others. When we start losing that sense of connection is when we start feeling adrift, and that drifting feeling can quickly become a downward spiral. One of the primary reasons we exist in the first place as a religious community, one of the primary reasons we have sought each other and this place out, is that we realize that we need each other to survive. When we come together, we experience something that we cannot possibly experience alone, something that is greater than the sum of our parts. And when we gather among our people, our chosen communities, our chosen families, then we start to get this sense of a greater love. And each time we immerse ourselves in this greater love, we get a little closer to something like healing and wholeness. Dana Faulds, in her poem, Marinate in Love, puts it this way: marinate in love and you turn from tough to tender. It's what love does. Allow it to work its magic, and love transforms even the most difficult mornings into opportunities for grace to trace its finger up your spine and leave you glad to be alive. Reach out to others in whatever way you can, connect with your people, and marinate in the love that you find there. The fourth suggestion I have for what to do when you don't know what to do is to break things down into smaller pieces. Everything in the world is overwhelming when you try to take it all in at one time. But pretty much anything can be dealt with if you deal with things one at a time. That old 12-step adage, one day at a time, is so crucially important, especially during challenging times. And the more intense and challenging things become, the more you might have to turn one day at a time into 1 hour at a time, or even 1 minute at a time. It may not be magic, but I have managed to get through some of the hardest times in my life by remembering to take it one day, one moment, sometimes one breath at a time. In one of her poems, Mary Oliver said, "Attention is the beginning of devotion." And I would add, the only way to focus our attention is to take it one thing at a time. The antidote to feeling overwhelmed is the ability to refocus on particularity, to shift our attention from the huge mess to the one or two or three things that we can actually do something about right now, and then move toward larger action. And finally, I would suggest that when you don't know what to do, you sometimes need to rely on your innate ability to improvise. You cannot possibly plan every step you will take before you set out on a journey. And sometimes we worry that any step we take will be a wrong step. But in fact, in a journey of transformation, the first step is never a wrong step. It may be uninformed or misguided or unfortunate or even ridiculous, but it is never wrong. The step after the first step is more telling, as it may indicate a particular direction that lends itself to some sort of evaluation or consideration. The jazz great Miles Davis is quoted as having said, "It's not the note you play that's the wrong note. It's a note you play afterwards that makes it right or wrong." But even those next notes or next steps, although they may be wrong-minded or ill-considered, are not actually wrong in themselves because there's always another note or another step to come. It's possible to construct a melody that doesn't make sense for quite some time until you come upon a note, sometimes the note, that makes sense of all that came before it. So it is with the journey of transformation. When we take that first step, we cannot possibly know where it will lead us. In fact, the more we think about that first step, the less likely we are to take any step at all and instead remain mired exactly where we are. Embrace the spirit of improvisation. Take a step, take it boldly and with joy. You may later regret that first step, but at least you will have started the journey, and you will have done so in a spirit that will sustain you. So, those are my 5 suggestions for what to do when you don't know what to do. Step outside, breathe, reach out, break it down, and when you have to, improvise. Nothing works for everyone all the time, and it's entirely possible that you'll find yourself in a situation where none of these approaches works for you. But sometimes it's just the act of trying something, as fruitless or frustrating as it may seem, that sets in motion something else that does make a difference. Sometimes the mere act of trying can help. There's a story that's told about the great composer Igor Stravinsky, who had written a piece with this impossibly difficult violin passage, devilishly difficult. After it had been in rehearsal for several weeks, the solo violinist came to Stravinsky and said he was sorry. He had tried his best, but the passage was just too difficult. No violinist in the world could possibly play it. Stravinsky said to the violinist, "I understand that. What I'm after is the sound of someone trying to play it." Perhaps our goal in life, especially when facing challenging situations, should not be the appearance or sound of perfection, but instead the sound of trying. Going back to Mary Oliver for a moment, in her poem titled "I Worried," she wrote, "I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing and gave it up and took my old body and went out into the morning and sang." I hope and pray that when all else fails, we might go out into the morning and sing, keeping in mind that what we're aiming for is the sound of someone trying. May it be so. Amen. In just a moment, we will sing "Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me." As I've said before, as Unitarian Universalists, we don't necessarily see our souls as being inherently wretched, as some other traditions do. But I do think that all of us feel wretched or experience wretchedness at some point in our lives. All of us sometimes feel as if nothing will get better, as if there is no hope and no way forward. And yet somehow, amid all this wretchedness, grace sometimes breaks through, making a way out of no way, planting seeds of hope in the ground of our hopelessness, opening channels for unconditional love and acceptance to flow freely through our lives. In that spirit, I ask you to rise as you may and join in singing "Amazing Grace."
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch
Our Share the Plate beneficiary for the month of July is the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, PIN. The Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network is a grassroots coalition of faith congregations, organizations, and individuals committed to building power for justice in southwestern Pennsylvania. UUCSH is a member congregation of PIN. You can make a gift online or by our website or by text at 412-324-3130. We'll be passing our offering baskets for cash and checks in just a moment. If you are writing a check, please make it out to UUCSH and put Share the Plate in the memo line. Thank you for your generosity. Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I have a brief announcement. As of this morning, there was no one signed up to do coffee. So, yeah. Luckily for all of you, Karen Krieger came very early and stepped up, so yay, Karen. But let's not leave her alone to serve and clean up, so I need at least two more coffee heroes to help Karen out. All of the instructions are out there. It's a really easy but so necessary job for all of us every Sunday. So yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys just want to jump into the kitchen and help Karen as soon as we're done. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you, Mary. Just a couple of brief announcements before our closing words. Next Sunday, July 19th, we'll have our congregational meeting immediately following the service. This is a meeting to see the latest drawings from our architects for our new construction and renovation project. And we'll also ask for a vote from the congregation to affirm the direction in which we are going so that we can complete the planning process and actually get something built pretty soon. So please attend. We do need a quorum for that meeting, so we need to have at least 110 members present next Sunday immediately after the 10 o'clock service. Also, next Sunday is our flower celebration service. For those of you who may not be familiar with that, we ask everyone to bring a flower or flowers with them. All the flowers will be placed in vases at the front, and at the end of the service, everyone will take a different flower home with them. It's one of our few Unitarian Universalist rituals that tends to get performed about once a year. Also, today in the sanctuary, immediately following this service, Sunnyhill will be hosting artist Ashley Cecil. 3 members of the congregation will be participating in her project titled Through Line, a fiber and performance work created through a one-on-one oral storytelling sessions of participants sharing what they know about holding someone close as Ashley knits their stories together and adds them to an ongoing chain. Please respect the privacy of the participants and refrain from entering the sanctuary once the process begins. If anyone is interested in learning more about the project, please reach out to Terry Alveri. We'll close now with these words from Dana Faulds. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes room for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't a race, that we will all cross the finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I am going, that many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe, to be, and walk slowly into the mystery. Go in peace.